Hello, everybody. We're getting close to the end of the year. We've got Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I hope everybody's enjoying themselves and getting a time out to take a break. We're going to be talking today about California leave reproductive laws. What we're saying, this is a California regulation, everybody, and it's a pretty interesting regulation. We are really focused on family forming opportunities now in a different way that we have before in the United States. And states around the country are starting to develop more specific regulations that support a family forming opportunity for an employee in your organization. So this is a California leave for reproductive loss, and we're doing a PowerPoint at the same time that we're showing you so we can really talk to you about what this regulation says. So what do you need to know about the California leave for reproductive loss? Employees with 5 or more employees must provide leave to both the birthing and the non-birthing parent. That means if both of them work for you, they both get their own leave. And by the way, we do that under FMLA already in California. Both parents get full baby bonding leave. They don't have to split it. Eligible employees may take up to 5 days following the loss. Okay, and these days do not need to be taken consecutively, but they do need to be taken within the first 3 months of the qualifying event. So basically, this is a week-long opportunity for individuals if they have a loss. So what is a reproductive loss? Well, there's basically 5 areas: miscarriage, stillbirth, failed surrogacy. That means if you were a same-sex couple or heterosexual couple that hired a surrogate, or you worked with a surrogate to assist you, and the surrogate had challenges. It's your child that they had challenges with, so of course you're going through a grieving process. So we're talking about failed adoption, failed surrogacy, miscarriage, stillbirth, and unsuccessful assisted reproduction, like in vitro fertilization. So this is a regulation that the state of California has said, let's help people form families. If there are issues like this that are not covered under something else because they're not long enough maybe for FMLA to be applied, or they're not serious enough for ADA, we have another avenue for you to be protected if you experience a family forming loss. And I'm not sure who coined that original term, but we were introduced with it a few weeks ago or a few months ago by another professional. And I really feel strongly that this is where our country is heading state by state. So let's all pay attention to these regulations as they show up, because this may be something you could even offer in your own corporation if you don't have a regulation like this that you have to comply with in California. You want to be more proactive and more appealing to potential applicants and your current employees, because we know there's a 25% attrition rate nationally in the United States, according to SHRM. And that's a pretty serious attrition rate, and it has a lot to do with how I feel when I'm working. And boy, is that new, everybody. We've never approached it from that perspective on a consistent basis, as opposed to a profit down intention. So maybe things are changing a little bit for everybody. Okay, now how does it work? If an employee has more than one reproductive loss, even within a 12-month period, employers aren't obligated to grant more than 20 days of leave within a 12-month period. Now keep in mind, you get 5 days for each event. That's 5, 10, 15, 20. That's potentially 4 events in 1 year. And is that possible? Yes, it is. And so we really have created a regulation that is helping families deal with these very challenging environments when they occur and you're trying to have children. The other issues are the leave is unpaid. But of course, if they have PTO, vacation or sick or some other accrued leave, then they would be able to utilize that. However, you understand that this is not a long enough length of time in the state of California to qualify for state disability insurance. So if the leave is unpaid, it's going to be unpaid because it's only 5 days and you wouldn't qualify for SDI at that point. So we really are looking for them to have an opportunity with accrued leave if they have it available, but otherwise it'll be an unpaid leave. You are not able to request supporting documentation. That means if they tell you this happened, we are dealing with potential fraud here, everybody, and it doesn't look like they've built something into this to really deal with it. We're going to keep digging in to see how we manage potential fraud and abuse of this particular regulation if we suspect it. And we'll talk about that to you about that as we learn more about this regulation and how it's being applied. But for right now, if your employee tells you that they need time off for one of these events, this is going to be added to one of those criteria of a mandatory compliance. So remember, we don't mess with pregnant women, and we don't mess with families who are trying to form families. Everybody, let's really start understanding how to help families form families. And that means you may have a pregnant surrogate that you're going to want to take care of if there's a challenge. And this is part of what we were talking about before with some of these regulations. We really do not have a place, except for in the state of California, with a designated person under the California Family Rights Act for a male or a female to take time off with a surrogate who is having challenges with a pregnancy and to help them, except for this regulation. And this regulation is not to help anybody through the pregnancy. It's really to deal with the grief of a loss when you're forming a family. So thank you, everybody, and I hope this was helpful. Be sure to submit your questions, because this is what we want to do for you here, is really help you sort out how you implement these regulations as they continue to pass and be more complex throughout the United States. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.